been in HR for approximately 20 years. I came into the business, training and development was my entree into human resources. I worked for IBM. IBM was closing down their division, and I decided to look inside corporate. So as opposed to being an external vendor, I wanted to be inside of a corporate entity. I took a role as training manager, and that evolved into all facets of HR. And eventually ended up as vice president of human resources over, I'm going to say, a 9 to 10 year period. So I've done a lot of work at the senior level of human resources. I also started working part-time for the Human Capital Institute as one of their faculty members 5-6 years ago. And once I transitioned to Saudi Arabia as Chief Human Resource Officer for a company, I was still doing external work for Human Capital Institute as related to the strategic aspects of HR, which is what Human Capital Institute focuses on. So I basically worked training and development, and I'm back to training and development, which I absolutely love. HR has changed dramatically because in a lot of cases it's being pulled along by the effects of what's going on inside the corporation. Talent is the big key in any organization today. You have to have the right people. You have to have the right people in the right positions on the bus, so to speak. So if you think in terms of that, you're hiring people, you're identifying talent, you're hiring talent, you're developing talent, you're motivating talent, and you're trying to retain talent. That's a tough equation. So the role of HR as that process-driven piece has changed because now so-called human capital within the organization is about figuring out how to put all those pieces together. It's kind of like a puzzle. People, process, strategy. Smart companies today create strategy. Smart companies today take strategy and shine that through the lens of people, because talent will be the driver in creating a successful organization. 75% of strategic initiatives fail. The vast majority of the time they fail is because of talent and the culture within the organization. So all of those things has kind of forced HR to the top rung within the organization, on par with marketing, on par with IT, on par with communications. Decision-making science, that means you're making decisions based on data. You're making decisions based on analytics. If you were to look at I'm going to say, profile data of your organization, and I ask this sometimes, what's the average age of the workers within your organization? What department has an average age that's higher that could be close to retirement? We did some work with an oil company, and they found that as looking at their data, the engineering department skewed a lot older, which meant that possibly within a 5-year window, a lot of people would be retiring. Decision was made to start looking to transfer knowledge, start looking to get the next level of leadership ready for those roles. And that came about by looking at analytics, by looking at data and analyzing it. You have to look at data the same way that an organization looks at marketing. Marketing knows the customer. They know everything there is to know about that customer. In the US, they have something that's called credit scoring. You fill out an application for a loan, they run your profile, and based on the data and analytics, will determine how much credit you get. If you call up to get an airline ticket, those tickets are priced based on analytics. Whether you get a cheap price, whether you get a much higher price, depending on the demand of that particular route. So every other department within an organization has always used data. And HR is kind of coming to the table a little slower, but it's coming because decisions can no longer be made based on what a best practice is or what I did at my company 5 years ago. We did this initiative and it worked well, so we're going to do it here. Can't do that. Industry is different, workforce is different. All these other dynamics that play into it are totally different. When we come to work every morning, there are certain things that we look for. We're connected to our job, what we were hired to do. We're connected to the manager that we work for. We're connected to the team that we work with. And if you can get all those three things synced up and create an environment where people are being developed, where you have the camaraderie within, you are on your way to building out an expansive and connected workforce. Managers play a key role, in that equation, because the most important dynamic within an organization is the manager and the employee. That has to be connected. In a lot of cases, managers aren't developed for soft skills. Technical skills, yes, they know their job, they know what to do with their job, but does that make them a good manager? Today, a manager has to have soft skills. A manager must know how to connect with their people. People leave companies. They don't leave companies, they leave managers, because the culture or the dynamic within that department is such that I don't want to be a part of it anymore. And that's why they leave. So those are the key points in trying to build or put together the type of environment that when people come here, they want to be here. I had someone tell me that they joined our company, they'd gone through onboarding, and we had an extensive onboarding program. I saw her in the hallway 6 months later. I said, "How's it going?" She said, "The honeymoon is still on." Now, what better affirmation can you get than that? If someone is telling you, "I'm still getting it, I still love being here." So that's what you try and get to a point that you can duplicate. Yeah, Google and Amazon, Facebook, Twitter, all those companies, if you look at the average age, it's a much younger workforce. Now the Middle East, I forget the exact dynamics, but the vast majority of the workforce is younger, nationals. So you're trying to get those same people to work in your organization, to be excited about what they're doing. That has to come from leadership. Leadership has to have a concern about connecting with their people. I had a CEO went through a long conversation about how connected he is to his workforce and his workers and on and on. I mean, the swan song, he just went on and on. I talked with the HR leader later, and she said, "This is the same person that walks in, passes by everybody's desk, does not even begin with the most simple pleasantry of good morning. How are you this morning?" So leadership has to get it. And I'll go back further than that the board has to get it. The board has to understand in a way that it's pushed down throughout the organization, where the key leaders of that organization is concerned about culture, is concerned about connectivity from the people to the organization. Everybody offers a check at the end of the month. So you're no different. If that's all your competitive advantage is that you have this job and you're offering a salary, people are looking for more than a salary. Someone asked me in an interview, they said, "Well, I hear a lot of companies are putting pool tables in. What would a pool table do for engagement?" I said, "Not much. For people that play pool, it would be cool. If I don't play pool, it means nothing. That's just superficial. Put in a pool, put some lounge chairs in." I was in a client the other day, they had nap pods in a room that people can go and take naps. All that's well and good, but it's going to take a lot more than doing physical pieces of furniture, colorings or sayings on walls. You have to live, eat, breathe, and sleep that. That it comes through from on high. That they have to get it. It's an innovation for Zappos. Zappos is ahead of the curve somewhat. But Zappos has tried some things that did not work also. This holacracy, which is this new structure, no managers, and people can just kind of work on projects. That's not working well. So initiatives, when you think about initiatives, we can try these things. I can open a company here and say, hey, after 6 months, 2,000 if you want to check out. It depends upon the company, it depends upon the industry, it depends upon the competitive landscape when you talk about retention strategies. I think the most important retention strategy is to develop your managers in a way that they are in tune with the people in their department. If we go home and our significant other is mad at us for some reason, we know that as soon as we hit the door, we sense it. If my kids are upset with me, I see the way they look at me, I know there's a problem. But lots of times managers aren't developed to look out for those soft skills kind of things. A tool we always have used is called a stay interview. We know what exit interviews are. A stay interview is you and I have a conversation about a project you're working on, and all of a sudden it evolves into how things going. What keeps you here? You've been here 3 years now. What are you excited about? What do you find exciting about working here, about working in this department? What are some of the challenges you're having working here? What are some of the challenges you're having working for me? As your manager, those type conversations opens the door for retention. Because I can get a sense of who's not into it, who's just going through the motions, and who's looking for a way out. So by having those conversations as often as possible is probably the best retention strategy you could ever come up with. Because sure, I could come up with an HR initiative and I could say we're gonna have ice cream every Friday. Every Thursday afternoon we'll have ice cream. Then we'll all go out for dinner. All that's well and good, but if I don't enjoy the people I'm working with, if I don't enjoy this organization and some of the policies they have, means absolutely nothing, carries no weight at all. But the manager-employee is the most important dynamic within an organization. They have to connect. Well, I was surprised when I saw some companies that had this exit interview process developed within the organization. Another company had developed their managers in a way to be on the lookout for the things that basically would cause someone to want to leave. In other words, develop your managers to a point that they understand engagement, what engagement is about. So that the managers understand their role in the entire engagement process. Lots of times managers manage people, they manage the job, they manage the process, but they don't manage the relationship. So relationship building is extremely important. Developing managers to be relationship ambassadors, so to speak, goes a long way, because if all of your managers are in tune with what it is to work for this organization, what it is to be engaged with their direct reports, their team members, that will go a long way in determining the engagement level within an organization. When you go to an organization and you see lower engagement scores, if you dig down into data analytics again, you'll find that certain departments are highly engaged, and you'll find that certain departments are not engaged. What happens? The departments that are engaged, you have managers that are engaged, and everyone wants to work for this manager. You'll go through some organizations and you'll see departments and everyone is having fun. You can look over and you see everyone is laughing, having fun, high-fiving, going out for lunch together, having fun. And then you see other departments, everyone is just head down, doing their job. 5 o'clock comes, 6 o'clock comes, they're out of the door. There's no connectivity. It's almost like going into a morgue. The manager that gets it has higher engagement. The manager that doesn't, or just doesn't care, maybe should not be a manager. The mantra in companies have always been, if you're the top salesperson, voila, you become the sales manager. If you're the top designer, you become the creative design manager. Wrong matrix. Because you're basing that on the job, the skills of the job. But if you base that on this person's ability to connect with people, that should also go into the equation in making the decision whether this person's going to get that role. Because me being a great salesperson means me going out the door, working by myself, individual contributor, so to speak, doing my work, writing business. And all of a sudden I got to manage people, and I want everyone to turn into a little me because this is the way I did it. Your way is not going to work. You got to do it my way. So I think companies today are moving away from, that filter. If you've got high job skill ratings, your next level is going to be manager. So that has to change. We all go out to initiatives for developing ourselves. I think one of the most important things you have to learn as you manage your career, and this is outside of the skills being taught in a class, you have to know how to develop yourself. You may have a training budget that you get 2 events a year. 2 events a year may not do it because the landscape is changing, constantly changing. So that means reading everything you possibly can read, joining groups. Those are the kind of things that you develop yourself. A 1-off or a 2-off development event is great. Learn everything you can. You may be overwhelmed by the time you leave an event because in 4 days, you're going to have all of this information pushed on you. Don't dismay. 1 or 2 projects can make the difference. Take one project, concentrate on that, become a winner with that project. And all it takes within any organization is to win big one time. Then you have a reputation for delivering. And then you keep delivering on that. You're right, I started in L&D and worked my way all the way up to CEO. But at each level, I made a business case as to why I should go to the next level. So I look for initiatives, I look for building success stories at each level, so that when I had my annual review, I completed 1, 2, 3. I basically worked out of my job description, so I think we should change my job description or give me a new title. I was making my case based on all of the work that I've done, all of the development activities I've gone through, but I took those activities into my whole career development scheme. How can I use this? This is the project I'll work on. This is the project I'll be successful at. Success story. Success story. Success story. Meeting, discussing success story, recapping success story, working out a job description, working out of my job description, new job, and the only option for that is update the job description, update the title. Now that wasn't a 1-year thing, that could be every 2 years, but I always kept in mind the next opportunity that I wanted to move towards. So as you go to any training class, any development class, any development activity, always think in terms of how am I going to use it for my organization, but also how am I going to use this for my career to get me to where each of us wants to end up. I'll tell you a story. A young lady that worked for me years ago called me up 4 or 5 years ago and said, "Oh my God, I'm so excited I just got promoted to HR business partner." I was very excited for her. I said, "Wow, tell me about the new role." "Well, I'm going to be an HR business partner and I'm going to be working directly with the marketing department." I said, okay. And what are you going to be doing with the marketing department? Well, I'm going to be the marketing department's liaison to human resources. Okay, so you're the liaison to human resources. What do you do in that role? Well, I'm going to be their personal representative for HR, and any HR work they want done, they will see me. They'll come and see me. Okay, and what is marketing doing with HR? How is the dynamic between the two? So as I noticed, as I'm asking these questions, she's becoming a little more frustrated because she didn't have proper answers. So we stopped and I said, I think you need to go back and rethink this. Rethink this from the management perspective. It came up with this new model. Because being a strategic HR business partner is going to require more than being the personal representative for HR and department. Because if you're looking to be strategic HR business partner, that does not necessitate taking care of this vacation request or this payroll issue that popped up. Because if you're the strategic business partner, you're working side by side with marketing, and you're trying to enable marketing to win. What are the key issues within marketing? What are the key issues within the industry vertical you're in that marketing is being affected by? Is it digitization? Is it the social media? How's marketing handling that? So what's the talent implications for all of that? I said, that's what the marketing person is looking for. They're not looking for another administrative assistant from HR. So you're gonna have to learn their business. So when you think in terms of what this course is about, it's about how do you go into a company as a strategic business partner and learn that business so that you're thinking as the marketing person. You're thinking as the chief information officer as it relates to the landscape, the talent application, because you're the human capital expert that's assigned to marketing, and you're solving people issues within the marketing department as it relates to talent. So strategies, the marketing strategy is here, talent is here. Your role is to connect those two. Not about sitting in the marketing department as their personal representative to HR. Understanding analytics, how you make decisions based on profile data. If you were to look at marketing and you notice that the department is skewing higher in age, if you notice the department level is more junior, what are the relationships to how many people in the department to the leaders of that department? Are those percentages correct? Does the marketing person feel that there's issues? What issues keep this marketing person up at night? You want to become a marketing person that has a human capital strategist background. That's how you become a human resource business partner with analytics training, because that's the skill set you're bringing to that department or your organization. The training that we're discussing is focused on case studies throughout. And we will use two different case studies, a case study for analytics as well as a case study for the role of the business partner. And the way that the case study is structured in a way that you're sitting in that seat, a new CEO comes in, and that CEO is looking to you to guide and navigate, because you're the heartbeat of the so-called operation. And you have become kind of a partner to the CEO. That is your role. So think in terms of what you're doing now, and coming back in 2 weeks, you're going to be assigned to the CEO as the chief human resource officer, whatever dynamic you want to put together. And this course will enable you to feel comfortable in a role like that. Theoretically, that's not going to happen. You won't go back in on the Sunday and become chief human resource officer. But if you had to sit down in a working session with your CEO or with the leadership team, you could do that comfortably. You're going to come into this class as a human resource generalist, I'm going to say. Think in terms of you're specialized in doing what you're doing at work every day. You're going to come out with a much more broader view of what it means to be a strategic HR person, a chief human resource officer, how the new level of thinking ties into the organization. If an organization does strategy, The next step is talent. In years past, a company did strategy and they looked for results. One of the schematics we'll use throughout the class is strategy, talent implications, developing talent, looking for results. That's the HCI methodology. That will be with us for the next 4 days, covering it from that angle. So you will come out of here thinking totally different about the way you think about the job that you're doing today.